When you tell your friends about the essential oils diffusing in your homes, where do you start? On the wall behind me, there are hundreds of unique blends and oils, and that can be intimidating if you're new and just looking for a quality oil that smells good. What if there was a simple line made with the same seed to seal standards that you're used to, and that you can bring your home to life with the smells of the seasons? Hello and welcome to Young Living's podcast, The Wild Drop. My name is Jacob Young, your host. Young Living is a world leader in producing and distributing premium essential oils. And this podcast will provide you with drops of information about Young Living, including stories, history, product information, lots of little fun facts, and even more. Well, if you're watching this video, convention is over, convention is finished, and I bet it was a crazy week. We have no idea how the week's going to turn out, and I probably won't have a head of hair. The future is weird and the future is crazy. We have no idea what's going to be happening. But for those of you that don't know, my brother and I are doing Battle of the Bros. Whoever can raise the most money for the foundation gets to shave the other person's head. And we also included my mom. So if my mom raised more money than both my brother and I combined, then she got to shave both our heads. So right now is a weird time to record because we have no idea what's going to happen. But if you're watching this video, you know exactly what happened. If you watch convention and you're watching this video, you know exactly what happened. But that's not why we're here. This little box right here on this table is exactly why we're here and what we're talking about today. The Simplified line is a line that Kait and I have launched in partnership with our research and development team, the D. Gary Young Research and Development Team, and a gentleman on our research and development team by the name of Scott Christian is the one who helped us with the scents, because I'm not very good at scents. I'm good at making blends with a purpose like Gary's Light, Daily Divine, I Am Blessed, all of those blends, and Roots and Wings. But we needed a man who went to fragrance school, correct, to kind of help us with these scents, because making organic scents is very difficult, especially when you're very limited with what you can work with. So, Scott, welcome onto the show for the very first time.
Thank you. Please excuse my voice. I've been sick for the past 2 weeks. So, we're always watching.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. So your title here at Young Living is scientist, and that's a very broad term. So maybe share what that all covers.
So before moving over to working with you, Jacob, and doing these blends, I was on the product development team, mainly over the men's care line. So all the bar soaps, shampoos, conditioners, all that. And I helped formulate and make those to meet up with the Young Living standards. That way we had our seed to seal stamp on everything we did. But I then moved over to the oils team and started making blends for you and for other personal care products. We started working with making new fragrances and reformulating some of ours that we have ingredients going out that we can't source as easily. So that way we can keep the high quality of products that we've all looked forward to and live up to.
Yes, I love that. And also share a little bit of your background, like what you were doing before Young Living, what brought you into Young Living.
For sure. So prior to Young Living, I'm going to college, jumping from call center to call center, finding the one that paid the best. And then I had a friend that came to the Young Living call center. And so they're like, hey, it pays great here, works great. So I jumped over also and quickly moved up through the call center to workforce management. And then from there, jumped over to the R&D team. Before I finished my degree as more of a researcher, where I read all the scientific papers that we needed. Every ingredient that went through, we have to substantiate it. I have to show, look, there is scientific evidence that these are good, even if we can't say anything. We have to show, if we ever get audited, look, this is the data that we based it off of. And so my job was to read all those papers, to go through it all, to make sure we had that data to substantiate what we wanted to say.
Wow. And I bet that was a lot of papers to read through.
Yep, but it was enjoyable.
That's great. And Kait, because you and I worked on this line together,
Yep.
I'd love you to share why we created this line.
Well, I can't share all the reasons because there's quite a few, and I'm sure you'll help me with this. But starting off, one reason we created this line was because when new people come and see Young Living and visit the site, they have no idea where to go, what to order, or what to do.
It's very overwhelming.
It's very overwhelming. All our products are amazing, and they help you in so many ways, but it's so hard to figure out which ones you need.
And where to start.
And we wanted to create this so they had just a landing, a little platform to go to get introduced. Everybody loves just good, nostalgic scents that bring you back to your past and your happy place, and something you can just fill your home with through the diffuser. So that is one of the reasons we chose to make this line.
We also created this line to kind of help people of our age and our generation, because we noticed a lot of our friends, when they would talk about essential oils, they never talked about it in the same way that like Kate and I do, or other people do, or our members do. They talk about it in more of just a scent way, like, oh yeah, I love the way that peppermint smells, or I love the way that lavender smells. That's how they talk about it. And so this was kind of a thing, like we realized that we could kill 2 birds and even more birds with, 1 stone. And so that's kind of how the line came to be, was, yes, to start with a platform. So when people come onto the site, they're like, okay, I don't know what to start, but I know scents. And so here's some scents. And these are all scents that everyone is familiar with. Some scents are going to be brand new because they're scents that nobody else in the world has. But we have a very original scent here, like Orange Creamsicle, which everyone knows and loves. Seaside, which is a scent that we have created ourselves, which is supposed to bring you back to like the beach, the smell of the beach. And then Tropical Tango, which is like a foresty type scent, like when you're out in the...
It's also kind of a beachy type scent. I wouldn't say foresty, maybe
there's
palm
more
tree
of like
forest.
a warm beach. If we go tropical tango,
Yeah.
you're warm beaching, you're lounging, you have your pina colada. Whereas the other
like
one
that.
is you're walking the Washington, Oregon beach line, cool, fresh, clean.
I think like forest in this sense because it has Ecuadorian ylang-ylang in it, the Tropical Tango does. And so that's what I immediately think. It's like, oh, ylang-ylang,
yes.
jungle, Ecuador. So that type of thing. But I know for some, like, we've already had a few members who've reached out and been like, wow, Seaside reminded me of this, and Tropical Tango reminded me of that. And that's exactly what this is meant to be. And so on the back of the box, we kind of have like a little theme with each box. So for example, for the summer collection, capture the spirit of summer with these 3 sensational essential oil blends designed to whisk you away to where the living is easy. So they're really fun and they're really great. And I kind of want to get into the part of like how these scents were made and designed. So we went to Scott because Scott is our scent guy. He knows exactly how to create the scents. And we said, hey, Scott.
I don't know about exactly, but...
Like, he did a fantastic job.
Did a great job. And we said, Scott, we're really looking for scents that smell like these. And Scott said, okay, well, let me get to work. So I'd love you to share like the process of how you go through and find these scents and put these scents together, because it is very tricky.
Exactly, Jacob. We worked together to do these blends, to get them all set together. And so when we got together, you had a list of, these are the 12 ideations of names that we had. And we went through a couple different names for each one of the different blends. And you said, okay, look, I remember specifically for the Tropical Tango one, you're like, I want it to be like a pina colada. I'm on the beach. I'm enjoying it. And so in my mind, I went to like Hawaii, LA, somewhere like that, Miami, a beach like that, warm, happy. But then at Seaside, you also mentioned, I want salt. I want it to smell like salt. And we went through probably 20 or 30 different renditions at least on that one blend, as we tried different mixes of oils. We tried Palo Santo, I remember, was one. Like, I reached out to some of my friends that also make fragrances. I'm like, hey, what could I do to do this? Reaching out to other people. And finally we came up with, well, we need to get something. The best thing I could find was some sea salt or seaweed extracts.
Seaweed, yeah.
And we went through a couple different seaweed extracts. Were a little too powerful.
What was the hardest part about these blends is because these are meant to be highly consumable in the sense that you're supposed to diffuse them. They only are supposed to last the season, in this sense, the summer, was we had to find something that was just really appealing that they would want to use every single day. And by they, our consumers, of course, you guys, obviously. And it was really tricky because you would smell it from the bottle and it smelled great. But then one of the first iterations that we had with Seaside with the seaweed extract, we're like, oh, this smells really good. And we went to diffuse it, and it smelled awful. It was
that
terrible.
Seaweed just took over, and it was like, oh.
So the testing that kind of went behind it was, it may smell good in the bottle, but we also had to diffuse it multiple different times in different rooms, different temperatures, climates, all sorts of different stuff.
And we went weekly for months going through these to make sure they were exactly what we wanted, the highest quality product we could produce.
It was great. I remember that first batch of the seaweed one. We're like, this is great. And as soon as we diffused it, everyone just dispersed. They left the room.
Cleared that room. We wanted these to be able to, like you said, bring memories to people. Like, we've all had that orange creamsicle in the summer. Like, we wanted it to put it in that room to bring us back to those memories. Because scientifically, our minds and our memories are tied closest to scent out of all of our senses. we've all had that moment where we walk by someone and we smell something and it takes us back to that memory instantly. Be someone's perfume or cologne, or even the scent of different foods take us back to different memories, our grandma's cooking or whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
and some of those scents might necessarily even be good. Like for me, the smell of tobacco reminds me of my grandparents because they smoked all the time. And being a little kid, I didn't understand that smoking was bad necessarily. But now as an adult, I understand, okay, this isn't really a good scent to enjoy, because it's going to cause more harm than good. But we all have those memories tied to these key scents, and that's what we wanted. We wanted these scents to be something that the members could build memories off of and take their own memories. Like you're saying, the people that have already tried it have already started to correlate these scents to these key important memories in their lives.
Yeah. And I think I love that you brought that up. The power of scent and the way that it plays in tangent with your memory is amazing. I know there's some times where we're traveling around the world and there's a lot of different scents, and it brings me back to something I completely forgot was even in my memory. And sometimes it's almost like a weird deja vu moment where you're like, whoa, where did that come from type thing. So, Kait.
Yeah.
There are some scents in here that you specifically requested and wanted. What were those scents and why did you want them?
There are a few I cannot tell you about because they are yet to be seen by everybody.
That's true.
Some of my favorites are
What are you
still
doing
to
teasing
come.
the people?
I know, but you will see my favorites are still to come. But some of them are just so spot on to the actual thing. It's amazing that we were able to do that with all natural scents. One of my favorites in this specific scent is the Orange Creamsicle. Just bringing you back to a kid when you're inside reading a book or outside playing in the backyard and you hear that ice cream truck. When they used to come around, they did used to come around, guys, coming through the neighborhood, and everybody just sprints outside to go get their Orange Creamsicle or their SpongeBob ice cream with the faces. But anyway.
And talking about, the power of smell, it's crazy because with that Orange Creamsicle, you can almost taste it. It's kind of like that weird trick that some people do where they like smell they smell a brownie, take a bite out of the apple type thing.
Exactly.
It's kind of similar like that, but I love it. And Kait, you're right. We do have a lot more scents coming out. So right now we're just releasing the summer collection, and the summer collection will go, we're in June, July, August. We'll go till August 31st, and the fall line will start September 1st. So there's going to be 3 scents for each season. So there's 4 seasons and 3 scents, so there's 12 bottles each. I know for me, one of my favorite scents is in the fall line. We had to change the name around a few different times, but really happy with where it is. It's kind of like a nursery rhyme type name. I love it. It reminds me of a lot of kind of like, that memory for me brings back a lot of memories with my dad because it has a lot of pining scents in it and stuff, a lot of woodsy scents. And that's one of my favorites. How about you, Scott? Is there like a scent that you really like? Or
My favorite one also is one to come. But like if I'm going to look at these ones and say which ones out of these are my favorite, I'm a citrus boy. I like all the citrus. So creamsicle is my go-to. Like I remember eating my creamsicle, and I was the kid that also shared his creamsicle with the dog. And my parents were like, what are you doing? Don't feed that to the dog. But like just eating an ice cream outside with your family, like I can feel the warm breeze on my face, eating the ice cream and just enjoying time with family outdoors in the summer.
I also think we should talk really quickly about how, with this being a whole new line, we have new bottles as well. So usually we always have the standard 5 or 15 milliliter size, and these come in a 10 milliliter size. So it's kind of a brand new size for all of you. And what's also new about them is they come in a frosted glass bottle. So for most of you, all the bottles that you're using right now come in an amber bottle, and so you're probably asking yourself, why are these different? And Scott, why are these different?
I don't know. I wasn't part of that.
Okay. Well, I'll answer that. So the reason why these bottles aren't amber and why they're frosted glass instead is because the amber is to protect the oil for longevity purposes. We know that most people don't use their oil on a day-to-day basis, or they don't consume them as much as like a scent line per se. Not as quickly, correct. And so the amber bottle is to help protect the chemistry and the integrity of the quality of the oil inside. with these being highly consumable, which you should be using them, we decided to make them in a frosted glass bottle for appearance looks, and because we know that they're not going to be sitting on your shelf, that you're going to be going through these and using them all the time. So they are pretty, they're gorgeous, they're a brand new look. I love how these turned out. And what's also really fun about this box as well is there's a fun little Easter egg, I guess you can say, and it's a little hard to see, but if you look close enough, you'll find the little Easter egg that's on there.
And also the box can be used if you are going to store it long term to keep it out of the sun. If you keep it with its box, it's out of the sun, it's safe from the elements.
Correct. So another really big reason as to why we developed and created this line is here at Young Living, we're all about a healthier lifestyle. And Kate and I, when we would go into the malls, we always passed a certain fragrance store, and we would both get just massive migraines and headaches from the candles that they had. And we noticed that people would buy these candles, they'd diffuse them and light them in their home, they'd buy the fragrances, diffuse them in their car, they'd have them all over the place. And some of our friends, we'd go over to their houses and I'd tell them, I'm like, we have to go out. Like, we need to go do something outside your house or whatever. I can't, like, I have a massive headache. And one of the reasons is because something that's very common in the fragrance industry, which you know of well, is they use very heavy synthetic chemicals. That was one of the big reasons is with this healthier lifestyle, not only are we opening a door for people who have no idea what to do when it comes to oils, we're also creating very fun, exciting memories, scent-based memories with this line as well. But we're also giving people a healthier option as well. And so, Scott, I'd love you to talk about why this process is so much different than how much easier, I guess you can say, the process would have been in creating these fragrances if we would have used synthetics and chemicals.
Exactly, Jacob. Like, in the fragrance world, when someone wants a fragrance, they go ahead and they give them a brief. They say, hey, we want this scent or this memory or whatever it is they're going for. And that perfumer is going to go to their organ, which is their list of all the ingredients they can use. And depending on where they're at, it can be anywhere from 1,000 to 1,800 different ingredients that they can use, ranging for single molecules all the way down to using actual essential oils in those products. So when you have that large of a selection, it makes formulating a scent a lot easier, whereas here at Young Living, the things that we've given our seed to seal stamp on that we can actually use is about 200 ingredients.
Wow.
And so an example of this is I actually had the opportunity to go back and meet with some of my colleagues that I studied under with and show them our oils that we're going to be launching. And I just had them labeled so that way they didn't know what they were going to be and stuff, but I had them smell them and got their feedback. And amazingly, everyone enjoyed them and loved them. They're like, oh my gosh, this is natural. You didn't use any synthetics in this. And it's one of those, it was just like a yes. It shows that we're going in the right direction. We're making a product that's a high enough caliber and quality that someone outside of the oil industry and the oil world also can appreciate how good these smell.
Yeah, quality without goodness, Scott.
Sorry.
Quality
Spreading.
without compromise. That's
Exactly.
what I love.
And like one of the things that's crazy is as time goes on, like there's certain ingredients that people used to use in different perfumes and colognes that we can't use anymore, that certain countries have made them illegal for allergen reasons. Like you were saying, like there are ingredients that as time goes by, we learn more and more about them. And some of them are fine, but others aren't, and they cause problems. And depending on where you're at in the world, some are allowed and some aren't.
Yeah. And you don't have to worry about that with this.
Nope.
All right, Kate. Well, is there anything that you'd like to share? Some final words? Some words of inspiration?
I don't know about inspiration, but I really hope everybody enjoys these scents, and we love to hear their feedback. And just have fun. These scents were created just for the smell of it.
I love that. Just for the smell of it. Scott, how about you?
Share them, enjoy them with friends and family. I guess one last note. I remember when I first interviewed for Young Living, I walked into that old building that we had, and I remember being like, oh my gosh, it smells so strongly of oils, but being here for almost 8 years now, I don't notice it anymore. But it brings me back to why we made these is for people that aren't used to that aren't used to the smell of oils and how unique and amazing they are. And this gives them an easy step into the door to share with your friends and family.
Very fun step as well. Scott, thank you so much once again. Kate? Thanks for being here as always, honey.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it. And thank you for tuning into this episode of The Wild Drop. Remember, you can listen on iTunes, Spotify, on YouTube, and our website at www.youngliving.com. Don't forget to oil up Young Living family. This is Jacob Young, dropping out. Take care.